Greetings, everybody. This is Christopher Messina coming at you from the Messy Time Studios. It is just before lunch, Eastern Time on October 15th, 2021. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out and congratulations to Pete Buttigieg, or however you pronounce it, and his husband on the fact that they now are the proud fathers of two twins. That's delightful, and I wish them all the best. I would, however, point out that with the country spiraling into massive inflation, with people being laid off or fired because of the Biden unity government's insane mandate that people become vaccinated, even if, for example, they were already sick and therefore had natural immunity to the Wuhan virus. In the midst of all that, we have 60 container ships backed up outside of the port of Los Angeles because there are not sufficient dock workers or truckers and the rest of those people available to offload those ships, which of course has a lot of commentators wringing their hands about the fact that, things like Christmas gifts for children and a range of other stuff will not be available. We're seeing empty shelves because of supply chain issues. We could go back and later describe in more detail the horrendous decision that Bill Clinton foisted on the world and America by allowing the Chinese into the World Trade Organization during his administration, which kicked off the cascade of horrible events that led to this nonsense. Never mind 40 years of business schools teaching a bunch of freshly minted MBAs that it doesn't really matter where stuff is manufactured so long as your VCR is cheap at Walmart. But leaving all that aside, because we can't go back and change the past, but we can highlight the fact that in the midst of a true logistics and supply chain crisis that this country has not seen in decades, maybe going back to Carter, which is illustrative. While Pete and his husband have these two babies, and that's delightful for them, the fact is, during this crisis, transportation crisis caused by the Biden unity government, the Secretary of Transportation, that'd be Pete, has been on paternity leave since August. So he's not doing his job, right? And this is not a matter of mothers who are now birthing persons or gay rights, which I'm majorly in favor of. I don't care what you're doing in private time, as long as you do what you should do in your job, in your public service. Any real adult would have said, wow, I can either take 2 or 3 months or more, apparently it's unending, of paternity leave or maternity leave. But maybe as the Secretary of Transportation, I occupy a unique role in the American government, and therefore I should resign if I really feel that it's important that I take paternity leave at this moment of supreme national crisis affecting 350 million other people, or I should suck it up and, like generations before me, do my job rather than sit at home cuddling my infant. Just a thought. There are moments in this life where you make decisions. I would point to the men and women of our military, for example, whose families often miss them for months or more than a year at a time while they're on deployment serving this country. Why Pete feels like he can screw off to play cuddly wings with an infant or two while the nation is spiraling, it's kind of beyond me. But sadly, it is emblematic of the approach towards personal responsibility that the Biden unity government shows. I keep looking for, honestly, something really positive to say about this crowd. I can't. I'd love to find it. I really would. If this weren't so horribly tragic, it would be hilarious. But in the midst of a national crisis based upon logistics supply chain getting screwed up, with Biden ordering insane things like doctors and nurses under penalty of law to not submit adverse reactions to the Wuhan virus vaccines to the national database designed to capture data around negative outcomes relating to given vaccines. In the midst of all this madness, well, this doddering old fool who should not be in office by any stretch of the imagination, and if it were not for his insurance policy, Kamala would not be. The madness never ends. Inflation is spiraling. Their solution to this is to penalize successful Americans of any kind to take our money and take illegal immigrants and spread them throughout the country without checking their vaccine status. No, can't do that, because you break the law and come to this country without a vaccine, or break the law at all to come to this country, you deserve to be coddled and given stuff, whereas Americans who work hard for a living are penalized and told to shut up. It's never ending. I'm going to stop now. You call your congressman, call someone, do something. It is just absolutely agonizing. These people never end. And I can't imagine how we're going to make it to the end of this presidency with the country still intact.